Hello and welcome to Network East in a week where our main story comes from home with disturbing news of racial attacks in Coventry. More about that later. But we start in Coventry. A recent report commissioned by the Coventry Committee Against Racism reveals that Asians in that city are twice as likely to be the victims of crime than white people. Racial harassment and violence are on the increase. Yasmin Archer reports on how this is affecting the Asian community. That report from Yasmin Archer. With me in the studio to discuss the issues it raises are Mohammed Bashir of the Coventry Committee Against Racism and Superintendent Keith Pemberton of Coventry Police. Superintendent, do you accept that Asian people live in fear?
Yes, I do. The whole community are living in fear of crime, and that's an unfortunate fact of modern day.
So you accept the findings that the report has highlighted?
Yes, the report is only underlying what we perceived ourselves, that there were some problems within the Asian community, and the report has certainly brought those to our attention and underlined the fact that they're there.
So now that you accept what's in the report, what do you intend to do about it?
Can I just make a qualification that I accept what's in the report, but some of the claims made in the report, I have some strong reservations about the actual current claims. But I don't want to be diverse from that. I think we ought to stick to what the report is actually identified and what we're positively doing to it. And the recommendations that are made in the report, I again agree completely with them.
Mr. Bashir, what should the police be doing?
I think what they should be doing now is to accept this report and accept the recommendations of this report and implement upon these recommendations as soon as they can in consultation with the local community and without recourse to the Lord Mayor's Committee of Racial Harmony and the CRC or something, because these are the institutions which over the past 6 years have proved to be absolutely useless.
Superintendent, will you be taking up the recommendations and implementing them?
They are already implemented, and I would hope that the people would come and tell us these things. If we don't know about the things, we can't do anything about it. Trust us, get a bit more confidence into us, and we can see what we can work together to solve the problems.
Which particular recommendations are you implementing?
Many of the recommendations in that report are already implemented.
Could I ask you to be a bit more specific?
Yes. The first implementation of a multi-agency approach to the problem has already been implemented. 1st of August, a liaison clinic. The Housing Department have already got a policy on about the allocation of houses and the ripping away of harassment. And then there's many other recommendations there. The Education Service are pleading for ethnic teachers to be recruited because there is now an identification that the ethnic teachers population is diminishing. And there is a need in the Education Department. And
that's the local authorities' problem?
That's right.
What are the police doing?
The police are issuing and having took up this initiative of the helpline, not the hotline, the helpline. People to tell us, then we can look at the problem.
How many people have rung the helpline?
Unfortunately, in Coventry, nil.
I'm not surprised at this, if I could intrude, I'm not surprised to see that not even anybody has taken up this issue of hotline. For the very simple reason, in the first place, people do not have sufficient faith in police at all. And the very fact that these initiatives are taken without the consultation of the community and the local people, not those local advisors, the local organizations and CRC, the Lord Mayor's Committees of Racial Harmony. This is where police seems to be implementing on the one hand, but not implementing on the other hand. If it is serious about implementing this report and its recommendations, then I'm afraid that it has to get rid of these ideas of police liaison committees and hotline and committees of racial harmony, of Lord Mayors and something. It must go to the people directly without a recourse to community leaders, without recourse to the CRCs or the Lord Mayors or the hotlines or something, to establish its faith, which has unfortunately lost over the years.
Superintendent, there's no confidence in the police, and obviously this has been going on since 1981.
But unfortunately, Mr. Bashir is going to go like that. We want his help to give us the confidence of the police. Those hotlines, it is an initiative. He's saying we shouldn't do it now.
Mr. Bashir has been saying that since 1981, which is why he had to commission the report.
We've now done it, but now it's still not right. Now we've done it. They are in different languages because we are told that the people are frightened to come to the police station. Now they can come on a free telephone call in their own language because they are worried that when they come to the police station, nobody can understand them in their own language.
Well, the report says at page 82 that they don't have much confidence anyway, which is why they don't report it. So how do you counteract that problem?
But what I'm saying is we've still got to... What I would say is that the communities that Mr. Bashir is representing, he should have a voluntary group. He should set up some voluntary group of victim support groups and become members of that so that they can be a reception area where they can go to their own community and report these, and then he can be the intermediary to the police, perhaps, if it is the police who have got to respond to these problems. We are looking at the multi-agency approach because, as Mr. Bashir identifies...
Are you not accepting that an assault and burglary is your problem?
Oh, it is indeed. But some of the problems are education, some of them are housing, some of them are social services, some of them are employment. So therefore we've got to identify all these. And the answer may well be a police response in the first place, but the answer may be another agency to help out.
Our role is very, very open, and that is we are very willing to assist the police and the authority itself to make sure that the rapport, the relationship that hasn't existed between the police and the local people must be re-established.
What will happen if the police don't go to the people?
If the police doesn't go to the people, which obviously live in fear and harassment all the time, then the situations that we have seen in the recent years in Handsworth and elsewhere cannot be ruled out at all. I'm only speaking for this sentiments that have been expressed in the film earlier on, that people are living in perpetual fear for all these years, and people, a very large number of people are almost housebound in the evenings. They are afraid of going out in the evening shopping in the city center. City center, even for a very large number of people, is a no-go area. And if nothing is done, and I think that the police and the local authority must take this recommendation very seriously, this report very seriously, and make sure that they are implemented very soon, because in the absence of such a thing happening, the explosions that we saw in 1981 and in recent years up and down the country cannot be ruled out.
Gentlemen, thank you both very much indeed. For the past 5 weeks, 27-year-old Renuka Lakhani and her 4-month-old daughter have taken sanctuary in Sri Sanatan Mandir in Leicester. She took refuge after the Home Office issued a removal order, which meant she would have to leave Britain. A community campaign has been launched to keep Renuka and her baby in this country. Fatima Salaria reports.
So, until next week, goodbye.
See you next week.